Where's Mers?
I don't know. I thought it was with you.
Is he coming?
That's what she said.
Oh. Good one.
Yep.
Because it's America.
F yeah!
I'm Mers. I'm muted.
Where is Mers? Was he taking a leak?
Uh-huh.
Golden showers.
I think he's taking a...
Oh, dear.
Oh, nice. Well played.
You create your reality.
Whoa, that's deep. A galaxy of stars. Just like the stars at the Academy Awards. It's Saturn Day.
It's a knee slapping good time, or is it a face slapping good time?
Oh.
So if they're all stars, does that mean the slap was the Death Star?
Oh.
Think about that.
Oh. That's
Velociraptor, that shit.
Discuss.
the Death Star. One of those stars is a Death Star.
I thought I saw the Death Star once, and it turned out to be a full moon.
Oh. Does kind of look like it.
I mean,
It's gray.
kind of like a big hole in the side of it, like where the cannon is. Not a hole, a crater. I've seen it. I looked at it through binoculars. Hey, it's the guy.
He abducted me.
Is Mers back yet?
I don't know.
There is Mers on Mars.
Mers.
You gotta wonder, is Mers like a long-lost relative to leprechauns?
I think he's going to see Elon Musk.
Long. The leprechaun. I'm the leprechaun. Wayne's World. Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Time. Excellent.
Mamma mia, mamma mia.
Kids out there like, what world?
Right. I don't know about the classics.
Classics.
Wayne's World, Dude, Where's My Car, Caddyshack.
Oh.
Caddyshack. Oh, yeah.
Classics.
Anyone here from Mers?
No, I'm from Earth.
Ew.
Maybe he's in that nebula.
I'm from Wayne's World. The world of Wayne. Mr. Wayne.
See, that sounds like a Mers mating call if you ask me.
And here we see the Mers in his natural habitat.
Throwing the Declaration of Independence at any drunk passerby.
He does do that.
He does.
Hey, what's... Is that Mers? No?
Wait, I got it.
Mers droid belt.
Twitter pated.
Are we
And I think I hear the
Like a
ginger
Mers
rage
thing
on
on
us.
Gingerade.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
Hey, there he is!
I swear that was
This is
the
a
longest
Mers
leak. The
It's a
longest
Mers
leak.
thing.
Super immersing.
Hey, you guys know why you can't hear a pterodactyl pee?
Why?
Because
Oh, god damn it.
T-minus 10, 9,
I just thought of it.
6, 5, 3,
Oh, the P is silent. Got it.
1, 0, and lift off.
I didn't know how to spell pterodactyl.
Right?
Wow.
I had to Google it just now.
Good job. Good job.
I did it.
What do filmmakers and barbers have in common? They both love to cut! This is Sexy Dad Jokes.
Hey, this is Johnny Spaz. Welcome to Sexy Dad Jokes. Hey, Benjamin, you know why the Academy Awards are called the Oscars?
Hey there, Johnny Spaz. Why are they called the Oscars?
Because their shows are trash.
Ouch, Johnny Spaz. That Oscar joke was so bad. I feel like quite the grouch.
Oh, man. Oh.
Say, do you know why you're not allowed to have your phone on during a religious movie?
Why?
Because it's considered cinema.
Oh, my God.
Dang!
Oh, okay. Hey, guys. I just auditioned for a movie about a talent show. I guess I better get my act together.
Oh. Oh, no. Hey there, Daddy-O's.
Hey,
Hey!
it's guy.
Say, what do you call a microphone made of TNT?
What?
What?
A boom mic.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Richard, way to take the spotlight. Okay, all together now. Welcome to Sexy Dad Jokes. Welcome. Welcome everyone to episode 11 of the Sexy Dad Jokes. As always, I am Benjamin along with Johnny Spaz,
Hey!
Mers,
Hey, folks.
Josh Richards,
What's up?
and the ever-loving Square 50s guy, Richard Richards III Jr. Today we're talking about a certain Big Willie out there.
You mean we get to talk about my co-pilot? Oh,
No.
Time.
oh man.
We're talking about Mr. Will Smith in the slap heard round the world at the Academy Awards.
Hey, what did the five fingers say to the face?
What?
Slap!
God.
Oh.
Oh.
Wait. I got a good one for that.
Keep your finger on that button. We're going to need it a lot tonight. It's going to be over and over and over and over again.
That's what she said.
It's not the last time I'm going to say it. I'll say that.
Oh, God. Oh, boy. Okay. On a night that was meant to be a celebration of art, diversity, and inclusion in movie making, the spotlight was taken over by an emotional outburst by the former Prince of Bel-Air.
Hey, how do you find Will Smith in the snow?
I don't know.
You look for Fresh Prince.
Oh.
Speaking of Fresh Prince, it seems like the Fresh Prince.
Fresh.
It seems like the French Prince.
French.
You want some cream fraiche with that?
Crown boy.
Umbrella.
Oh, you ain't never had a friend like me.
Well, it looks to me as though the Fresh Prince got in one little fight when his wife got, I guess, scared.
And you're moving with the alien uncle in Bel Air.
Oh.
Wow, French Prince. So today we're gonna unpack this from the perspective of healthy masculinity as part of our journeys to be better men.
One corny joke at a time, of course.
But before we continue, I got to tell you about how Square 50s guy came to my Oscars party.
Oh, that must have been quite the show. Really, Johnny Spaz, let's hear it.
Hey, thanks for coming to my Oscar party, Richard. Always nice to enjoy an event with good friends.
Right you are, Spazzy, my boy. Almost like watching America's pastime in the stands with not a cloud in the sky. Gotta say, though, I'm not sure what the whole point of these Oscars are.
Well, they're about celebrating the best in filmmaking. You know, it's a night where the whole world gets to see who truly has delivered the best of the best in their field. You know, be it acting or costume, set design, or just being the best movie of a given year.
The best of the best, eh? Well, I gotta say, Spaz, it is nice to give credit where credit is due. But I have an issue with some of these nominations.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, I look at the names of all these movies and I never heard of a single one of them. Not even these actors, I've never heard of them. Where's Charlton Heston, Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman? In fact, when it comes to these movies, no one's even heard of these movies. I asked some fellas if they were excited for this show, and none of them had the slightest clue what any of these movies were about.
Dude, Richard, these movies may not have been the biggest box office draws, but, you know, what they lacked in financial gain, they made up for in, you know, more of quality of story.
Oh, well, I guess you have a point there, Spaz. Way to be a bee's knees advice giver. I guess we can all give credit where credit is due to these artists, even if their outfits are a sore sight to see. Now, how about we get back to watching this award show, eh? Oh, great Caesar's ghost! Did you see that?
Oh, crap, I sure did. Will Smith just slapped the hell out of Chris Rock.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, man. They are bleeping the hell out of Willie big time. All over this all this over a joke? I'm so confused. It wasn't even that bad of a joke or that funny either.
Well, it serves that jester right, if you ask me.
How do you mean, Richard?
If there's one thing I can't stand, it's seeing some of these so-called comedians coming on stage to give a presentation, and they decide to make fun of some of the people in the crowd.
Richard, a lot of, if not most of the comedians' jokes are making fun of someone. It's just how most comedy works.
That doesn't give them the right to start insulting men and their wives. Why, if I was there and some comedian decided to make a joke at my wife's expense, I'd be giving the Academy Award for Best Beatnik Numbskull, and the prize is 14-carat knuckle sandwich.
Richard, that is not the way to deal with something like that. I mean, most of the time, a joke is made of good fun. You know, it's made in a time just to be good fun, and it's not meant to hurt anyone. Violence is not the answer, especially on a night meant to be one of celebration and respect. You know, if a joke ended up being more insulting than funny to you, you shouldn't then have to fight the right to just go and hit someone for it. Just wait and have a moment to talk to them and express how the joke was more hurtful than humorous. You know, just dealing with things with words is a lot better than dealing with things with violence. You know the old saying, the hand is mightier than the sword. Well, nowadays the word is mightier than the hand.
Spoken like a true diplomat, Spaz. You aren't such a party pooper after all. Now, how about we sit back and enjoy the rest of this award show?
Sounds like a plan to me, Richard.
Yeah. Wow. That was amazing. Oh, Square 50s guy, Richard, when will you ever learn?
Probably never.
I can't believe he was at a Oscars party. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
It's a sight to see.
Did
What?
he RSVP or just show up?
He didn't know what
he'll always just
RSVP
show
meant.
up.
Well, it's another French word, so you might have problems with it.
He said, "What is resivbup?"
Risbup.
The French prince.
Respondez, s'il vous plaît.
Mm-hmm.
What?
It's respond if you please in French.
Whoa.
What?
Respond, s'il vous plaît. Yeah, that's what it means.
All
At least
right,
as far as I know, that's what it means. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't Googled it. We should leave that to Johnny Spaz. He's good at it.
Yeah, I Google things.
Yeah, that was a crazy night. And what Richard was saying kind of resonates with me, right? Like, hey, if you're going to insult somebody who isn't as strong as you, then shouldn't I defend that honor since they have no real way to, other than words, I guess, which I don't know, it's tough. It's who's got the true strength in that moment, I guess, is what you really got to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't expect somebody to slap another human, especially the guy that wouldn't curse in his rap music, to set a good example.
Right. That's a really weird piece.
You might as
of
well
puzzle.
go. You might as well go full Eminem now. Come on, let's hear it, Will.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. I did not expect that myself either.
I don't
And it's
think
like when he's
anyone
walking
did.
up on stage, like the whole time you're thinking he's gonna clown him or make some joke or even like do a fake punch move like, hey you brah.
Right.
You know who didn't expect it? Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Man,
he
what an awesome way to handle it, though.
yeah, there's definitely some really, I mean, we've all watched the clip a million times or, maybe 50 times or whatever.
Yeah, seen
But-
all the memes from it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, yeah, there are a lot of memes coming out. I think that Chris Rock, his posture and stance is very telling. That
Yeah.
he was not. He realized something was wrong. After Will got about halfway to him from when he comes onto frame, but you can tell like he was looking, and all four of us have been on stage before. If you're looking out at the audience, it is very difficult to see without doing this.
Right.
So when
the
he
lights
leans
are
in,
shining.
yeah, he leans in and
So
lowers
his-
his
yeah,
head
his-
to see.
Right.
And when he does that, you can tell he's like, "What's going on here?" Or at least that's what I got
Yeah.
from it.
Well, he didn't even put his arm up to like do anything. He just took it full on the chin,
Mm-hmm.
But he did after. But he actually, what's really funny is the way he stands there with his hands behind, like
The
at
regal
ease.
posture.
The-
Yeah.
The regal posture. Yep. I think there's another word for it. It's like I can't remember now, but essentially, you're untouchable, is what that stance is. You're completely
confidence.
exposed. Yeah.
It's called parade rest, I think.
Parade rest.
we
There you go.
That's what we call it in the military.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then the reaction after he got whacked was you could see him kind of come back up and around like he was going to defend, and maybe he was preparing for the next thing to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting to think about Will Smith and his posture throughout that whole exchange from the joke forward. It's very odd. It does not all the way until he curses, right? All the way until he says, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth." At the end of that exchange, when he says those things, he is very passionate and very angry. And I think that he felt a genuine threat to his family, and he was defending that. And even though I believe it was misplaced, I can understand how you can get emotionally hijacked.
I think he slapped Chris Rock because his wife. He was laughing up until he looked at his wife.
He was.
And then his whole demeanor changed. I haven't seen that clip. I haven't seen him look at his wife.
There's no shot of him ever actually
Okay.
looking at his wife.
Right. There's a moment in there where he
Right.
changes. from laughing and just sitting back and relaxing and chilling, watching a show and laughing at a comedian, right? Because I'm in the front row and I got to do that. And then there's a moment where it changed, and unfortunately, we don't get to see that moment. But I would love to know what he got. He got hijacked by emotion.
Yeah, because it's so bizarre. Because when I've watched the video over until it essentially has come out that it was a real unplanned slap. I'm sitting there, I'm watching, Chris Rock's doing his thing. He does the G.I. Jane 2 joke, which is a stupid joke to begin with. But then, you see Will Smith and you just see him, just doing the, the laugh that he's got. And he's just laughing. And Jada's kind of just, rolling her eyes a little bit in a deep sort of annoyed sigh. And then you go back to the cut. The camera goes back to Chris and he's laughing and then starts to talk a little bit. And then just suddenly, here comes Will Smith. Just out of nowhere, just suddenly it's a complete polar opposite dynamic shift where he was laughing and then suddenly now he's pissed off.
He goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Exactly.
And he did not flee and he did not freeze. He did the other one. And a curiosity that has been going through my head since this is like, okay, how does this get justified? How can Will Smith not get canceled? Which he's probably too big to cancel, too big to fail, too big to jail, right? I mean, he's an immensely powerful individual in Hollywood. And I think that that was like, how's it going to get justified? What's it going to, and I don't understand. I guess, would it have been better? This is something that's stuck in my mind. Would it have been better for him to have been stoic? To not show any emotion, right? Since that's something that is toxic or is said about toxicity, toxic masculinity, is that stoicism, the no showing of emotion. And what he did there was show pure emotion in his actions. And so I've kind of tried to go through that in my head because once I started thinking about, well, he wasn't thinking. That is not what Will Smith would go and do.
No.
He doesn't have, he's not Russell Crowe, right? Russell Crowe gets in fights all the time. So
used to.
I don't know if he still does. I know he got in a couple of fights like on airplanes and stuff, and it's like, and in bars and whatever. And it's like, well, I mean, Russell Crowe, I'd expect him to go up there and sock Chris Rock. Will Smith, I would not expect that. That seemed very out of place for him.
I think it's about the control, the self-control. Like you don't want to bottle up your emotions, but on the other end of the spectrum, you want to be able to control it when it takes over. I like that emotionally hijacked term. That's interesting. Right. And then Johnny Spaz, you sent out that meme. You texted us that meme about Order 66. Like, that'd be so interesting to see that moment,
right?
Because they cut that shot. Like, I'd love to see like that moment when he transformed.
It was split. It was a switch, man. A switch. Like he was laughing, and then the next thing you know, he's walking up on stage. Like, it was live. There was no cut through. There was no cut there and edit. There's got to be film of it.
Well, they cut away from him and went back to Chris Rock. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see Chris Rock. He's like, "Oh, here comes Richard," and then Will Smith is walking up, but we don't see that transformation take place from laughing.
You saw his wife
to fight Will.
We saw his wife's face, though.
Yeah, we saw the face, but then we didn't even see Will like go and make a turn to look at her. He was just still looking and smiling and laughing, and that was it.
He may not have had to. They were very close to each other. They've been together for decades.
They've been through a lot together.
If she sighs or if she makes a noise, that jerk or again or whatever she's going to say under her breath, and he hears that and it processes in his head, because his whole job right then is what? Sit there and smile when everybody else is laughing, laugh. That's all you're supposed to do, Will Smith. You're not supposed to do anything else. Clap for everybody that wins and smile and laugh. And if you don't win, sit quietly and respectfully. And something threw that off for him.
Well, he did. Chris Rock did have a history of making fun of.
Well, he made
Jada
one joke.
No, it was a 2016 Oscars where he's like, "Whoa, Jada's is going to boycott the Oscars." He's like, "That's like me boycotting Rihanna's panties.
Right.
It's
But
like,
he
I'm
was
not
never
invited.
I mean, and
I'm
that's
like,
that's a much more intellectual joke, right?
it is,
Like,
but I mean, it's just the whole point. To me, it just shows a complete disregard for for what is appropriate. And when you know you're an example, and I know he knows he's an example setter because of the rap and his whole conflict with people giving him the business for not putting curse words in his raps. It was a huge thing. This was way back, but it was a thing. So I don't believe that Will Smith don't know the difference between right and wrong, and I think he showed a complete disregard for it. But what do I know? I don't know these people, and for all I know, it was staged. Who knows?
well,
I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't agree with it. I think he should know better. He has kids, and he's been known as a family person, and I thought he was a good actor, and
wholesome.
I just don't like what he did. I'm like, dude, I don't think you should be canceled for this, but there needs to be consequences for this.
Well, I think that
I don't know what they would be. I'm just saying
he's lost his status.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we're all talking about it, because he doesn't have that status anymore, and now he's a work in progress.
He's going to kind of become a joke on the whole dynamic of that kind of thing, though, which I think that could have negative.
Well, I mean, okay, have you guys ever been pissed off like that? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never been a world famous star either.
Yeah, I don't think that changes the human condition.
No, but it would change my outlook on how I behave.
Okay. So
if you're in such a raw emotional moment?
Exactly. In that moment, he did not have his faculties. Like his prefrontal lobe was not what was in charge there.
Yeah, well, given the nature of my work, I'm like, if you can't have patience and you can't act right in front of children, then you shouldn't be there.
Well, let's break this down a little bit. So what we want to do today is look at this from the perspective of healthy masculinity. And we've talked about a whole bunch of different concepts here on the show. And so I'd like to apply a couple frameworks and perspectives and really break this down. Now, I put together some clips. I think let's start with trying to see this from Jada's perspective. And I think this kind of fits into the flow of the conversation here. But I think what a lot of the conversation on the internet is missing is really the perspective of Jada, which really should be the thing that's centered here. So I found this this great clip from this body language expert who really broke down the whole video. And because Jonny, you mentioned this idea that, was this staged or was this some kind of stunt? And when you look at when you break it down by the body language, it's pretty clear that this was a case of raw emotion, kind of what Murs you were describing. So let's look at this clip.
Well, real quick, we are talking about Oscar-winning actors.
No, I'm right there with you. I was going to mention that too. Like, if there was anybody that could fake this, but I would say this: micro expressions are very, very difficult to fake.
Mm-hmm.
Also, not a detail that we can see right here. So
let's take a look.
And look at her eyes. We see something very telling. Her eyes go up and then they come back down as her head backs up a little and she just looks at him. This is two things. The first part is, here we go again. So this is something like, so it's kind of like a slower eye roll. And we do this when something that we're used to dealing with comes up again. Oh, here we go again, not this again. Like she's dealt with this kind of joke before. And then she comes down and the second part of that was disappointment. She's looking at him like, really, Chris Rock? Like, you're really gonna go there? All this together, for me, if you look at her, we're seeing a very vulnerable moment for her. It's honestly heartbreaking. It's not something I would ever want to see in my spouse or in a friend or in anyone really, where we see this whole collapse of her body language as her eyes go to a place of like, just not this again, not now. And then that comes back, settles on him like, come on.
And we don't want to watch a loved one be crushed,
or anybody.
and we want to stop that from happening. I mean, that's my immediate response. I do not want that to happen to that person that I care about.
My first filter, though, is if you can't take a joke of being roasted, you shouldn't be in that area. And if you know you're going to be the butt of a joke, then
I think that's a fair point. One thing to consider is for Jada, this is a medical condition, right? Alopecia. It's not something she chose.
Ben, just a real quick question.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, you're moving now. You were frozen.
It's
Please
not
continue.
something that she chose. She didn't shave her head because of a part she was playing in a movie. This is a condition that she's been dealing with. And I think in humor, that's sort of a line. Like, if you can tease, anything's fair game if it's sort of a choice, but if you're kind of born that way, or if it's involuntary, it's a line. And I see the point that, like, okay, you should know that you're going to show up to the Oscars, there's going to be some roasting going on. And I think that's really the crux of the debate here, is like, a comedian has the right to free speech, has the right to make whatever joke they want. The butt of the joke has the right to take that joke however they see fit. Now, what should Will have done in that situation? Should he have gone and become violent? That's another debate, I think. But I think first we need to understand why they felt so affronted by this. They were insulted, and this was a running thing. Chris has targeted them in jokes before. I'm sure that this is a sore subject for Jada, something that she's been having to deal with. If it was me sitting there and I'm not feeling that joke, I don't know if I'm gonna fake it. Like, if I think you're out of line, I reserve the right to express that. So I don't have any problem with Jada not feeling that joke and not going along, ha ha ha. Now, should Will have done what he did? I think that's another debate. But what do y'all think?
I think my brother-in-law has alopecia, and people between him and his friends. I don't know Will Smith and Chris Rock's dynamic in terms of friendship, but I don't think there's a reason for violence. Period. End of sentence. I think there's no justifiable excuse for that. That's not how a grown-up in a civilized, peaceful society acts. Period. If it's okay for him, it's okay for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that how he reacted is one debate, but I wanted to raise up, okay,
So
was
on the
received.
medical, right? Is that off limits? Is what you're really asking? Can you make a joke about somebody's medical condition? Can you make fun of Stephen Hawking? People do all the time.
I'm saying we shouldn't be surprised if someone doesn't think that joke is funny.
I think that's the conversation we might be having had there not been the slap, right? But with the slap, we're not having the conversation whether or not it was morally or ethically correct for Chris Rock to make a joke at somebody's medical condition. But people make jokes about people's medical condition all the time on stage. It is not off, Were there any Michael Jackson jokes? I remember them, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, okay, maybe we could have a conversation about that had the slap not occurred. But with the slap, that conversation is kind of, it's always going to be held against when is it okay to slap? That's what it's going to be held against. So is there a time when you can't make fun of somebody's medical condition that justifies physical violence? Or we could just debate the joke, but then, I mean, like I said, there's lots of jokes out there like that, which is how it would have gone, and the newsreels would have gone right back to what they're always talking about.
And it's not like the Oscars hasn't had questionable jokes happen on their show before. you've literally had
Ricky
years
Gervais.
ago. You had,
Ricky
well,
Gervais.
for the other awards, yeah, but for the Academy Awards,
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you literally had like 1 year Seth MacFarlane was the host, and he literally had a musical number where the main chorus line was "We saw your boobs, we saw your boobs," and it was all about the hack that happened years ago, where like all these celebrity nude leaks happened, and you didn't see anybody go up on stage and slap it. Granted, it was probably they knew the song was coming, unlike say this joke that Chris said, but there's been far worse said on shows before. And you brought up Ricky Gervais too. I mean, and hell, even what's her name? Amy Schumer, one of the hosts, was making a joke about Kristen Stewart, who is an Academy Award nominee and a lesbian, just saying, "Oh, she's a seat filler." You didn't see Kristen Stewart go up and slap her. And we've had literally in that same show, you had Regina Hall do this whole bit where she's going to do personalized COVID tests of all these really attractive male stars. So Simu Liu, Bradley Cooper, and she was going to COVID test them with her tongue, right? Is that, but going back to there's been far worse done. But going back to the Jada conversation, I mean, was the joke unnecessary? In my opinion, there was probably a better joke to tell.
A better way to make that joke.
A better way to make that joke. And, Jada, it is a personal subject for her. She's been vocal about how it's a personal matter. And I don't know if Chris was really aware of that. If he was, then, well, that's kind of a joke that's way too far.
There's a way to say like, hey, Jada, I understand your condition and what you're going through. I mean, I don't understand it, but I get it. And, hey, think about it this way. At least G.I. Jane 2, you're in the running. Right? Now he's related to, still made the same joke, but he said, hey, you've got a medical condition, but hey, here's a positive. You could get G.I. Jane 2.
2 comments from people that I really thought were great and highlighted some other points of this were Jim Carrey, who criticized the audience for the standing ovation right after all that occurred, apparently, and basically criticizing Hollywood and what they will literally stand for. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar saying, this gives weight to the stereotypes about black people. And it makes us look bad as a culture. And I was like, wow, 2 totally different spectrums of people, between Jim Carrey and Kareem. And it's just like, the fact still remains, like, is violence okay?
I think to understand this, to break it down from a healthy masculinity standpoint, it's important to understand why Will acted that way. And I am not condoning it. I'm not saying I would have done that. I don't say it was right. And I don't think that, my analysis, I have an analysis about his actions. And yeah, I don't believe that it was appropriate, but we have to understand what was driving him. And that's key to understanding the analysis from the healthy masculinity standpoint. So I think a very applicable framework here is the Guardians versus the Warriors, right? This idea that instead of being a warrior who's in the foxhole and always ready to fight and believes that is the definition of a true alpha male, or what it means to be a man is to being willing to fight when needed, but more coming at it from the guardian perspective of someone who is a protector, someone who protects his family, his loved ones from danger. And I think that's what was driving him. And again, I think he has a flawed understanding of what it means to be a guardian, because what comes with guardianship is that, you're willing to throw down if it comes down to it to protect your family. You are a protector of your tribe. But when you overreach, when you unnecessarily introduce violence, you actually put your tribe in more danger. So I think that's a key point. But to get there, we need to understand, what was Will thinking? And I think there isn't more so feeling. So I want to play another clip. This is Will in his acceptance speech, and isn't that crazy? He wins the Oscar for Best Actor
It's
right
like half an
after.
hour later or whatever.
It's crazy. But I took some, I edited this down to really point out the protector's motivation in him. So let's watch.
Will Smith!
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family. I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do and be in this world. Making this film, I got to protect Ingenue Ellis. I got to protect Sanaya and Demi. I'm being called on in my life to love people and to protect people. Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father, just like they said. I look like crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But love will make you do crazy things.
How many times did he say the word protect there?
About
Enough
7 or 8.
Enough to make people forget he just slapped somebody in the face.
But you can see it starts to be clear what's driving him. Just one more clip I want to show from the body language guy.
I think there's a deeply, deeply rooted emotional thing here. Maybe he's talked to Jada about this before. Maybe she has some really deep insecurities about this. Maybe there was something in the past that happened about this and he didn't like the way he reacted, or she didn't like the way that Will himself reacted because he didn't jump up to protect her. So this is him either correcting something or really understanding the pain that she's going through. So he gets up, he walks towards Chris Rock, and again, notice how in that entire walk, he had multiple occasions to just stop and do something else. Walk back, go up to Chris Rock, whisper in his ear like, dude, that really wasn't cool. Grab the mic, say, hey guys, that's not funny. But that's not what he does. He slaps him across the face. That is pure emotion. There's no rationale to that. I don't think even Will Smith today thinks back and says, yeah, that was the right move. And then we have the walk off back into the audience. And this is, I think, the main reason so many people were like, oh, well, obviously this is fake. Look at his smirk. He's smiling. Really think about that statement. Really think about it. If the guy who won an Oscar award yesterday for acting in a lead role wanted to convince you that he's actually pissed or angry, or he was scripting this whole thing with the intention to sell it to you, you would not be able to spot it. He would be able to do the tears and the anger. He would know exactly how to play to the camera that he's actually pissed in that moment. He is having an emotional experience. And that smile, that smugness that he has, is him turning around, walking away from this, thinking to himself, he did his duty as a man and he protected his family, he protected his wife. That's the emotion. He's actually, I think, in that moment, proud of what he just did as a protector.
Yeah, I mean, how would you tell if an Oscar-winning actor was
Faking it?
faking it? Or
Yeah, I think he had time as he sat there very, very uncomfortably and probably embarrassed out of his mind, trying to think about what just had happened. And so then he went up there and went, what was I doing? I was protecting, I was defending, I was protecting, I was defending, right? And then he tried to relate it to King Richard, but he was not ready for to compose himself, which is obvious as he's giving his acceptance speech. Like a lot of people cry when they get their award. I get that. And it was his first one, and okay. But he was up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and all over the place. Not just a normal, I want to thank the Academy and cry, thank you. But he was up and down and up and down. So he still was not regulating his emotions. He still was not going through the prefrontal. He was going through the amygdala. And the amygdala is where we get our reaction time and our fight, flight, freeze. I'm sorry?
Gesundheit.
Well done, though. I appreciate
that. I think that is a key point here. He was acting from raw emotion.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to understand what's motivating him. I think it's very clear to me what the theme here is. I keep hearing the word protection and this feeling, like that smug smile on his face as he's walking back. I'm like, why is he smiling?
Because
this dude breaks it down. It's like he felt like, I just defended my tribe.
Yep.
Y'all.
Yep. That's empowering. He felt justified. He felt righteous. He felt he had done the right thing, not even though he hadn't even processed that it was possible it was the wrong thing. In that moment, when he has that smug look and he's turning around, he's like, yep, put you in your place. Don't come after me and mine. And let that be a warning to all of you, especially you, Chris, who has already done this once. Do not come after me and mine. And that was his whole purpose, I think, was a big one. He didn't punch him either. He did not sock him. He opened.
It was a slap.
Hand slapped at him, and he came down across his face, not straight across his face. And he was wearing a tight suit, right? Which might make it difficult to come straight across. I don't know. I haven't slapped very many people in a suit. So, but it was not as, and he may have been, his brain may have been kicking in as he was walking towards Chris Rock, right? Like, what are you doing? You can't don't hit him. Don't punch him. Don't hit him, right? Because we are pretty conditioned not to punch people in our society. Do not punch people in our society. We don't do that. You can't support the don't punch people in our society stance? Or I can't support it. Ow.
You can't.
Ow. I just got punched on Halloween. Just got punched in the face. I never told you guys that. I thought I mentioned it in a previous episode. Maybe not. Yeah, I just got punched on Halloween because a guy was coming around the corner at 40, 45 miles an hour. I had 12 kids with me, one of which was in a wheelchair that just got hit walking to school and got his leg broken. And that's who I'm pushing in a wheelchair. And here comes a car flying at us. So I jumped off he was in a Sherman tank, really cool costume made out of cardboard around his wheelchair. It looked sweet. I'll show you guys pictures. Anyway, so I'm pushing him and this guy goes flying and I'm livid. Like he's chirping tires going around the thing. And it's Halloween night. There are kids everywhere. It's not like he didn't pass 5 groups of kids in this neighborhood that's only 20 miles. Anyway, I'll just stop. I walked up to his house and I had that same kind of voice that he said, keep my wife's name out your mouth, right? I walked up to his house and I said, you will not drive like that. And I could feel the timbre in my voice was very, very passionate and aggressive. And then the guy walked up to me and punched me.
Wow.
So now there's a little bit different there, right? Was I defending? Yes, but I was being very aggressive in it, but I didn't take a physical aggression. So
I have a story.
Story time.
So this guy says to his wife, tell me something that'll make me happy and sad at the same time. And his wife says, you're as much bigger than your brothers.
Happy and that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, if my fist was bigger than my brother's and my wife knew about it, I'd be not so happy about it either.
It's not what I said.
Oh, I thought maybe you were talking about foreheads or fists. I'm not sure.
I said his dick.
What? Is Richard? I didn't know you knew who Richard Richards III. You've been played off the stage.
Played off.
Get it over, Johnny. No, I mean,
my gosh,
it's good that we're kidding around.
That's such an interesting. Mers, that's such an interesting story.
That legitimately happened last Halloween. Like that just happened. My lip is still messed up. So
we talked about it.
What I get from that, I think, so you were you were standing up for your tribe, but then you received violence.
And then
That's
I chased him down to his driveway and entered his driveway and yelled at him. And he considered me a threat. So he punched me. But I was in his driveway, right? So, I mean, but I was being guardian, an aggressive guardian, and I wasn't going to hit him. I was 15 feet from him before.
You're holding him accountable for his
holding him
speed.
very accountable in a very
dangerous.
passionate command type voice, just like keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Was, dude, you will not drive like that here. And then he told the cops that I scared him, like I scared the daylights out of him. And I'm
You're
like,
scared, dude. That beard coming at you. I feel that.
I don't know. When you get a 5'7" guy in your driveway who's yelling like he owns the world, I guess you get a little bit scared, even if he is tiny.
But yeah, so that's interesting. So you were in the Will Smith position of trying to defend your tribe, except he was the one who became violent. You were actually you're controlling your emotions. I think it's very appropriate that you wanted to have a conversation with this dude, if nothing else, to protect the kids in your neighborhood.
Well, there were 10 or 12 kids with me at that point, and 3 or 4 adults, right? We're just walking around as all the neighborhood. We all like to hang out, whatever. And I don't know. Anyway, as far as it goes, when's it okay to punch somebody, right? If somebody comes into your driveway after you almost hit a group of kids and yells at you, is it okay to punch them? I don't know. And that's something that a court would have to find out, because I entered his drive. It doesn't matter. What does matter is, was it okay because of a joke being made for Will Smith to go and punch Chris Rock, or slap Chris Rock, not punch him, excuse me. And I don't know if it's a threat, right? I'm going to beat your wife up or something crazy. Then am I allowed to go and punch somebody? Because now it's a threat, and legally that kind of gives you grounds to go punch someone. And again, we're looking at an old ideal. This is the thing that keeps coming back up in my head. 20 years ago, absolutely. Nothing would have happened. It would have been a big deal, but it wouldn't have been the deal that it is now. 40 years ago, it would have been, yeah, so what? Somebody got punched at the Oscars because he insulted his wife. Yeah, I'd have punched him too. Right? And that would have just been accepted in our society. You made fun of my wife, I get to punch you. And that's the way it worked. 50 years ago, 60 years, how far back do you want to go? How many generations back do we need to go to where, yes, that was absolutely acceptable? And Richard Richards III, I'm pretty sure he said it, would have punched the dude, given him a 24-karat knuckle sandwich, right? I'm not only going to punch him, I'm going to punch him with my wedding ring on and really jack his face up because he made fun of my wife.
An Andrew Dice Clay brain smasher punch.
And at some point in time, our society has decided that's unacceptable to defend your wife's honor, I guess, or her emotional, where she's at, because she was not doing that was not good for her. She just got made fun of for a medical condition. That's not very cool. On the other hand, I don't know if you get, I don't believe our society says it's okay to punch at that point. However, we're still figuring that out. Like, how much backlash has Will Smith gotten?
Mm-hmm. And
I think
that's what's fascinating too. Sorry, Johnny. Is how people are responding to this. Go ahead, Johnny.
I think that if he would have just said, keep your wife's name out of your mouth, the way he said it without the slap. I think that would have conveyed the point.
Yep.
That's a great point.
I thought that too.
I think the speech and the emotion and what he said was the vulgarity expressed the emotion and like the overstep, and like he would have had the high ground.
Mm-hmm.
But the violence,
he doesn't have that now.
That's the other part that we haven't talked about. Is the high ground, because Chris Rock is on the high ground, even though he made fun of a medical condition, which is also unacceptable in our society.
Dude, he did Chris Rock a favor. That guy's apparently his ticket sales for his comedy tour is like through the roof as a result of all this.
Of course, he absolutely. if you watch him get socked, right, and then he goes and he throws his arm out about halfway, and then when he realizes that Will Smith is back to him walking away, he goes back into his stance, into that parade rest regal stance, right? Which is a very restraining stance because your arms are behind you and it's absolutely non-threatening. And then he just carries through. What's really funny, what I loved though, was what did he say? Let me see if I can find what Chris Rock said right at the end there. Oh, that's not the right
Will
place.
Smith just slapped the shit out of me.
Yes, he did. And then they went back and forth. Keep my wife's name in your mouth. Wow, dude. Yes, it was a G.I. Jane joke. Yeah, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. And then he goes, Chris Rock says, dude, I could. Oh, okay. Because he was going to respond with something, I think there. He went, dude, I
could come back.
Okay.
I could torch you right now if I wanted to.
He
showed amazing restraint.
He could march down that stage and hit him, right? He could do any number of things at that point that would be justified. But not really.
The show must go on.
What's that?
Talk about the show must go on, dude.
No, he was. Think about it. So Chris Rock has 40 years in the game, right? 30 years in the game. He's a professional, a consummate professional. Oh, guess what? So does Will Smith. They're almost the same age. They've been in the game the same amount of time. They're both comedians, right? And you go, how was it that Will Smith did not maintain his composure, but Chris Rock did? And maybe Chris Rock getting smacked in front of millions wasn't as emotional for Chris Rock as Will Smith's wife getting made fun of was for Will Smith.
Yeah.
Because Chris Rock did not respond emotionally. Or maybe he did. Maybe freezing was responding emotionally, right? Fight, flight, or freeze. And what did he do? He didn't run. He stayed there and he didn't fight. He didn't even fight with words. He just went, dude, I could, okay. Yeah. Greatest night television history. What he did was you could see him thinking about what he was going to say next.
He was going to
like legitimately
I could torch you right now.
Yep. And then he went, okay. And he looked over to the side and then he looked back and he went, that was the greatest night in television history. Like he had to come up with those words. Think of how brilliant, how quickly he had to go. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Amazing.
A masterclass in bigger manship.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
I like what you said about the higher ground. Like, yeah, Will does not have it right now. And if he would have just maybe come out with that outburst, keep my wife's name out your mouth, right? And you take out the slap, it's a completely different situation.
Yeah. And it's like, and then you would have probably had Chris Rock being the person he is. He probably would have been like, oh, my beans. And then just moved on or apologized or something or anything other than what just happened. Because I'd hate to see somebody get canceled after a 30-year brilliant career, finally getting an Oscar.
Well, you can't cancel him. And
well, no, I'm just saying, like, the point. Like, I'd hate, even after the fact, I'd hate for him to, because he did come out in with credit where credit's due. He did come out and apologize for it, and he said things that he's like, I was wrong. I was like, okay. You think of it like a child. If a child comes to you and says, look, I'm sorry, I was wrong, you forgive them. And you realize that they know what they did and why you're upset. And you don't just say, continue on that path of, you got to provide a pathway to redemption.
So this was the part of the conversation that I was most excited about. And now we're at it at the very end. But that apology, right? And the way he apologized and what he said. And he identified what he did wrong and he showed remorse for it. And he said it directly to Chris, right? I'd like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. Like, this is directly for you.
Yeah.
I was out of line and I was wrong. So he admitted that there is no justification here. There's no place for violence in this world. I was embarrassed by my actions. They are not indicative of the man I want to be.
What's interesting though is he doesn't have the high ground, but I feel like he got some man points from this based on how people are reacting. I mean, he got the standing ovation from the crowd. Not only did he not get kicked out or arrested, he got a standing ovation. Yeah. I'm going to play another clip. This is Tiffany Haddish talking about her feelings around it.
First of all, do you know, like, that joke that Chris did? I remember when that movie came out. Yeah. And that was a way to insult a woman, her sexuality, her physique. It was a way to call a woman a homosexual, basically. And she's sitting right next to her. It was like that. I remember that in school, that they would do that to people, you know. It's kind of messed up. Sometimes discipline needs to be administered.
They can make
repercussions for your actions, you know.
Okay, what
First of all, I seen a man stand up for his wife, which we don't see that much anymore. That made me have hope. Yeah. I want to know how you felt about it. Would you want your husband to do that for you if you was clearly hurt? I mean, they put her face up on the screen. He looked over at his wife. She was hurt. What would you want?
I would want him to defend me. The thing that made me sad was like this was a big night for Will, and then you saw that emotion for him, and it was like God, it's just I don't think I've still processed how this night went. You know.
Well, I just know she better take care of business when they get home, because I know I would. If my man did that for me, I'm just saying. Yellow. I felt very proud. I felt gratified, and I just hope that more men are like that. Care about their families. Now, it's not just about you, right? It's not just about you, sir. What about your family, the people you create, the people that help you be who you are? That's important. That's what I think America forgot about.
What do you say to people who are critiquing him online right now?
Yeah, what you doing for your family? Who you protect?
There's that protection again. Protect your family.
Yeah, I think people get the wrong idea about protection. Does it protect your family when you set a bad example for the rest of the world because your feelings got hurt?
I think it used to.
Do I cry for the guy that has a funeral because he got hit by a car, but the context is he stood naked, drunk in the middle of the highway at night where people couldn't see him? It's like the context matters of these things. I don't think that I don't agree with what she said. I mean, yeah, people should protect their family. Yeah, but I don't like the way she said it. I don't agree with it.
Well, the rules changed rapidly. How old is Tiffany Haddish? I don't know. She's got to be around our age. I have no idea how old she is, actually. But I know that Will Smith and that...
30 some odd, I think.
Is she? So she's...
young.
Okay. She's not in her 20s is what I would say. And Will Smith and Chris Rock are in their 50s. So how many generations do we have talking about this right now? All of them? And it almost seems like there's a divide between generations.
My take on this, I think, are you a man if you're taking action? I mean, that's the belief, right? And I think he should have taken some action. His wife was clearly hurt, but he took it too far. And that's the problem I have with the whole thing. Should he have made a scene? Should he have done something? Yeah, I could see that. I respect that. Should he go up and slap someone in front of the world? That's too far, in my opinion.
I agree I agree, but I disagree on one point in the making a scene, and that's just because Will Smith, I mean, the guy's got 60 million people following him on Instagram, and he's a worldwide icon. He's in his 50s. He's a businessman. I would just say that I think, yes, you could still defend your family, but you could have done it when they got into a commercial break and just went, "Hey, Chris, come here." Because you don't want to make a scene on the biggest night, especially with Will's case. This was going to be, take the slap out of it, it was going to be the biggest night of his career because he finally was going to get that Oscar. He didn't know it, but he was finally going to get that Oscar. There's a lot of pent-up emotion and stress. So then when that one little dart got to him, he cracked. And with the tears, I mean, he shares later on in that acceptance speech that, when this actually is on the news, where when they went to commercial break, Denzel Washington took Will aside and he said something along the lines of, hey, at your highest moments, be careful.
That's when the
devil comes for you. Yeah. Right. And Will, in my opinion, was more emotional because he realized that this was supposed to be a great night for him. Well, now that whole night's been ruined because of a mindless action that he could have had better control over in himself.
I mean, what are people going to remember about this night?
Exactly. You know, we literally just had a film that was mainly cast by deaf people, which is why you had to sometimes you're also doing this. One Best Picture. A deaf actor won Best Supporting Actor. No one's talking about that. They're talking about The Slap, heard around the world. And Will had to deal with that. Now, I mean, granted, what I've heard is that, according from P. Diddy, that they made up right behind the scenes. And no doubt they're going to maybe have some more closure later on down the way. Because I think even when I saw like some of the images from Page 6, like even like during the commercial break, you know, Will, he's broken. He is broken.
Oh, his head is down.
His head is down. He's wiping tears from his eyes. And like Jada, even at one point, like leans over, like puts his hand on him, and like is like comforting him.
Right.
Because he realized he made probably one of the worst, if not the worst mistake in his professional career. Right.
Yeah,
and
single instance.
In one single instance. And so in that moment during the action, I would just, in my opinion, I think that he was, you know, he was very emotionally hyped up going into that night because he might finally get that Oscar after God knows how many times trying. Right. And he's going to get to that point. He's all his emotions focused on, okay, we're just about getting close to that Best Actor nomination. Let's get to there. Come on. Let me find out.
Oh yeah, he's jacked up. He is.
Yeah, and then you're suddenly out of nowhere. Wait, what the fuck? You know, then this joke comes in. And it's always
he's
that
already
one little thing.
And maybe he's in character too.
So
King Richard.
Well, that was the other thing. He had to become that character, so that's part of it too. And King Richard, I think, was very difficult for him to play without becoming it. Not only that, he had to gain weight. He had went through a whole bunch of stuff for this role. And I'm not making excuses. I'm saying we have to put ourselves into where he was emotionally.
Yeah, when you have all that drive and passion into a project, and you're still some ways rebounding from it, your mind is not going to be. It doesn't matter who you are.
It's weak.
Your mind's going to be a bit frazzled. So then when something awry happens, in this case it was a joke that wasn't that funny, and Will just saw a reaction and then immediate reaction that, you know, when we could talk about, he maybe was like on the walk there, could have thought maybe this is the wrong idea. That didn't seem to come to play when he sat down and he's yelling at the top of his lungs. I mean, Will's a good actor.
Still way
he's no Daniel Day-Lewis though. So I could tell just by looking at even just the picture when he's, yes, keep my wife, and I'm watching that, I'm like, yeah, he's mad. That dude is mad. You know, they say, black don't crack. He cracked at that moment.
I think I am curious because again, he didn't punch him, right? He slapped him. Which is what you do to somebody when they say something, which is what a lot of kids grew up with, getting smacked if you disrespected your mother, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I have one other piece on that.
Mm-hmm.
If Jada had gone up and smacked Chris Rock, now what?
Well, at that
not
point,
not Will, Jada. Now you have a woman,
mm-hmm.
and B, she was the one that was directly insulted.
Yeah, I don't know.
When is it okay to slap?
I think because this is Will Smith. Jada is definitely a global person.
Yeah.
Not to where her husband is. So I think more the shock value is this is Will Smith. This is the guy from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and the Genie and all that stuff.
Jiggy with it.
It's like suddenly this guy who was all laughter and smiling and doing documentaries and stuff, suddenly we saw a dark side to him. Right?
Or
whereas
was it
with
the real
Jada,
side?
she's been vocal about her condition. And so for some people, they would have thought, well, I don't know if he was deserving to go on live television on the grandest night of them all to smack somebody. That might be a bit too out of character. But again, when emotions are high, especially when, as I say, 10 minutes later, you're about to get that award, it's like that, it's as if, say, one of us had our spouses, you're waiting for your wife to give birth to a baby, and then someone says, man, your wife looks fat.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody's going to be a bit heightened at that point. Like, what the did you just say? Right.
So that's, but she's got alopecia too. It's not like she was bald from chemo or something.
Yeah, it just was a condition. But again, in a night of heightened emotion, a lot of shit can go down. And Will, at first, was protect, rage, don't punch, just get the message across where, hey, that was wrong, right?
Mhm.
And then just go about your business. But then when it went to commercial break, he realized, oh
Yeah.
shit, what the hell did I just? Because his publicist talked to him too.
Yeah.
Oh
At
yeah.
the same time.
Sure, everybody
And
was
so-
talking to him, or some people weren't.
Yeah,
But
and even he's admitted during the speech that the tears were not for winning the
right,
award,
nope. He was out
Right.
of his mind.
right? And then even like they show like a shot when he mentions Denzel, they show a shot of Denzel, and he's almost in tears
Yeah.
too. And it's not because Will Smith finally did it. It's because this boy's broken.
Yeah.
He's broken.
Lot
And
of
hell,
empathy.
Denzel just played Macbeth, and so he knows what it's like to play a broken character.
So I think one other big thing for me, the biggest thing for me as far as sexy dad jokes and my journey to become a better man is, where's the absolution? Where's the redemption? Okay. Like, what if I did this? And I was all jacked up emotionally when the guy almost hit us with the car, right? And I don't normally chase people down and then yell at them. It's not, I will yell at them as they go by, but I won't chase them down. So I'm curious, how does he redeem himself?
I've got a story I can share. I was taking Jack to the movies, and we parked in the parking lot. There was a van next to us, and the dude in the van got mad at me because we pulled up right into the spot right as they were starting to get out, and then there was like a baby involved and kids and and so and I mean I pulled in very safely and no one was in danger, but this guy was like out of his mind, going crazy, trying to start a fight, and if I'm getting called out and I don't think I did anything wrong, I'm going to defend myself. So we started getting into it, words exchanged, and we sort of settled it or whatever, or we didn't settle it. Words were exchanged, and then me and Jack just went on our way. When I'm sitting in the movie theater, I'm like, what? Did I carry myself the way I should have? What example have I set with Jack, who just saw his dad have words with somebody? What's up with this dude? Why was he acting all crazy? Well, he was defending his family. He saw what he perceived as a threat, and kind of what Will Smith said at the end of his speech: love makes you do crazy things.
Yeah.
And he was acting crazy on me, and I was trying to defend myself and my son. But my conclusion was it did not feel right, did not feel good in me on how things went down. So I decided I'm going to go, when I go back to the car, if they're not there, I'm assuming they're not going to be there. If their van is still there, I'm going to leave them a note of apology. Because I just want to set it right, and I want to feel good about how this gets settled. So we get back to the car, the van is still there. I write the note and I go to leave it on the windshield when the family returns as I'm doing that. And I'm like, okay, what do we got here? And basically the guy walks up to me and apologizes, and I apologize, and we shake hands, and we even have a laugh about it. The wife and the kids, they look relieved. And I think this was the case of two men trying to protect their tribe, and getting all tangled up in that. But at the end of the day, we both do the right thing. And so I'm hopeful that Will Smith does the right thing when it comes personally, when it comes to Chris Rock. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'd love to see something like that.
That kind of, it's a good story. My kind of reminds me of this advice my dad gave me before I went to music college. He said, remember, son, it's better to have lobsters in your piano than crabs on your organ.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like advice, I mean, we can kind of look to our sexy dad jokes code, right? And number 7, it's what you do now is what defines you, not what you've done in the past. And I think with Will, what he did in the now, that moment, defined him as someone who had a really bad moment. And everybody has had that. Ben's had it. Johnny's had it. Murda's had it. I've had it. We've all had it. But it's what he does going forward that's going to define him. And now he's already made an apology. According to P. Diddy, and I don't know how much of an accurate source P. Diddy is, they've made amends backstage or at a party. And I think they're supposed to meet up later at another Vanity Fair event, and they're going to,
cash it out. They're going to put on the boxing gloves, and they're going to see who would win.
No,
Celebrity death match.
That would be good, though.
Even like Chris Rock has come out and said, like at the LAPD said that Chris Rock did not file charges because he knew that, okay, the joke was out of line, and Will was probably not really Will at that moment. And so I think that when it comes to punishments, obviously they're doing the Academy is doing a formal review on the situation. I don't think Will's going to lose his Oscar. I think he's just going to probably maybe be some sanctions done where maybe he's going to have a suspension from the Academy for a few years. But I think in that time it's going to be a few years to reflect and really understand that what he did was wrong and make efforts to make sure that it doesn't happen again in his own case. And who knows, maybe do some sort of charity work, right, to help make things better because, he wants to be a better person, right? He talked about playing a crazy dad in King Richard. He's talked about, Will himself. He didn't have the best father in his life. He's seen his father come home and punch his mom unconscious. He doesn't want to be that way, which is probably why he didn't punch Chris. He slapped him because, he doesn't want to be what his father was, right? And I think for Will right now, I understand where he probably was from. It was wrong what he did. But I think that there is a path of coming back around to a better point for him in his career. We'll just see how the Smiths and Rock deal with, public acknowledgments of the situation going forward.
Okay. You were talking about rule number 7, Josh. And why is 6 afraid of 7?
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9.
No, because 7 is a registered 6 offender.
Oh my gosh. Where are you pulling these from?
Why did 7, 8, 9? Because you said to have 3 squared meals a day.
The worst thing to feel during a prostate exam is 2 hands on your shoulders.
Oh my gosh.
These are the jokes, folks. These are the jokes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, a lot to unpack from the slap heard around the world. And we as men, we got to understand that every action we take has consequences and is a model to others and affect those around us. And that violence is not the answer. You use violence if violence is coming at you. But when it comes to being a guardian, you find other ways. You stand up for yourself, but you find other ways to make a stand. And that's what's important, that if you feel that you are affronted, you stand up for yourself. You're not a doormat. But I think we saw here an example of that going a little too far. So, words of peace can last far longer in impact than any fist or slap.
That's some wise stuff, Ben. I mean, yeah, words can last longer for sure. I mean, we talked a lot today about doing the right thing, about going to situations differently, right? How one action can change the entire landscape, even in Hollywood at the Oscars where they're all acting.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking about something that I want to share with everyone here watching and listening, if that's okay.
Yeah, Mers. No matter what else happens in my life, if there is any one thing that makes my heart smile, it's seeing you really come into your own as a person, as a man, and as
Thank
a
you.
friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do.
And throughout all the years I've known you, that we've known each other, every step you take, every move you make, every word you say, every single day, I've been watching you grow more and more.
It's kind of creepy, Ben. Kind of like, are we on copyright infringement? That was damn near a song, I'm pretty sure. But I do appreciate that, my friend. I do.
Yeah, and I've watched you grow into a better man. And the fact that you want to now share words of honest wisdom, it just brings joy to my very soul. So please, tell us what you got.
Well, you know why on every movie set they say break a leg, right? It's because they have a cast.
Oh!
Dang it, Mers, you got us again.
You are a badass.
No, he's not.
Well,
I was thinking about inventing a new medical procedure called fart-to-mouth resuscitation.
Keep your farts out of my flippin' mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
50
my
guys
God.
got it. I do not want anything to do with fart to mouth resuscitation.
Can you not support that stance?
I cannot support that stance.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's tastier than a knuckle sandwich.
With the 24 karat cold fucking lining.
Richard. King Richard Richards the third Jr.
King Richards. Yeah, it's funny that his name was Richard in that movie, isn't it? I mean, like he kind of acted like a Richard walking up on that stage. What a Richard.
What a Richard.
What a willing
gosh.
Richard.
What a
I did want to mention that we are giving away 100 free stickers. You can claim yours now, and you can find more info at sexydadjokes.com/join.
Yes.
You can get your free stickers.
There you go. There it is. sexydadjokes.com/join. Get your free sticker. Thanks for tuning in. Any final words, fellas?
Butt cheeks.
There it is.
Buttsville. That Square 50's guy's got nothing except for he doesn't want to get.
Does that count as the word?
Check where you're sitting before you fart, I think is Square 50 guy's advice.
Well, Ben better check himself before he wets himself. That's all I got to say about that.
Resuscitation.
It's juicy.
No.
It's so moist. Like my
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's wonderful to see you all here on the live stream. We're gonna try to do this again in a couple weeks on Saturday. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. Thanks for listening to Sexy Dad Jokes episode 11. Please like and subscribe and visit sexydadjokes.com and get some awesome t-shirts, mugs, and other merch that'll be sure to get the people talking. Celebrity characters depicted in the show are not affiliated with Sexy Dad Jokes. In this episode, for personal comment, news, reporting, scholarship, or research. Until next time, all right.